A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's Monday night, it's GT3 sports car action, and it is now the first port of call for the second half of Season 8 of the Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Championship. So far, we've visited Germany, Japan, America, and now Austria. This time, we head to the iconic Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans for our second of three 90-minute enduros. And this will start telling the other chapter of this season so far. You join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt in the commentary box. We are in the final throes of timed qualifying. 15 minutes for these drivers to get around this 13.5-kilometre circuit that has plenty of corners. But before we do concentrate on qualifying and bring Mr. Parfitt into the booth, let's talk about the season so far. Peter Duke, not here tonight, has opted to use this as his drop score, as we just see George Reyes put the Ferrari 296 in the barriers at Tetra Rouge. Leads by 18 points ahead of Mr. Fresh Rubber, Sam Berry. Craig Corish is the leading Clark St. James Motorsport car in the top three, out of the top 10, of course, with Season 6 champion and last season runner-up Harry Hartley-Price in fourth, Andy White in fifth, Hayden Young sixth, Tim Reed, Wayne Douglas, Simon Nelthorpe and George Reyes rounding out the top 10. However, in the AMS, it's Harry Seven leading by 34 points ahead of Scotty Kostrick, with Mark Wesley, Joel Loudon, James Moore, Sindra Johansson, Chris Haynes, Raymond Van Zutphen, Jeremy Jukic, and Gareth Newton rounding out the top 10. And with that, all of that housekeeping out of the way, a very good evening, Mr. James Parfitt. How are you, bro?
I'm all right, mate. Not bad at all. Not too bad at all. Do you know what? I really want to bring it up, Alex, what we were discussing in the green room, but I'm staying away. Nope, I am staying away for my contempt for a circuit that's just way too long for his own capabilities. I mean, they should do a micro circuit or something. You know, come out of Tetra Rouge and then turn right and wiggle through the infield and join it down in...
Okay, well, let me make a suggestion. Let me make... Okay, sorry to cut across you there, but is the Le Mans Bugatti circuit on the iRacing server?
No, we've either got this one or we've got the historic one that doesn't have, obviously, the chicanes. I don't think so.
Okay,
ooh, hold on.
Maybe...
Let me have a look. I don't think it is.
Let you have a gander. Okay, well, I think in terms of French circuits, I mean, okay, it might be a bit samey, but it's about the same length as the circuits that we're visiting this season. Magny-Cours would be one.
Yeah, maybe. And the answer to your question is no. Unfortunately not. The Bugatti circuit is not on a... But I think that would be quite cool. I think the Bugatti circuit would be quite cool. 2.6 miles, nice, cool track. If you're not running multi-class, don't put the cars at Le Mans. I think that's the only thing. Le Mans is renowned for multi-class racing, for the Le Mans 24. And if you have hundreds of cars, then, it works because it's so long and there's always action. But I just find that if it ain't multi-class, it just don't work. And I'd love to see the Bugatti circuit, on iRacing. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, you could stick... I mean, there is one that always is part of GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS. That's Circuit Paul Ricard, where you've got the long old Mistral straight. But that's got more Crayola colours around the edges of the circuit that you could probably shake a stick at. Magny-Cours, which is one that I've mentioned. I'm trying to think of other French circuits. There's quite a few. I mean, one of my good friends, Thomas Bastin, he does the French commentary. He does the commentary for the FFSA GT Championship, which is run by the same organisers, so SRO. And I'm just trying to look at what their side of things is. I know we've got George Reyes at the top of qualifying, so it's just the case of Nogaro, Dijon-Prenois. They even have Spa on their calendar and Magny-Cours. But you know what? We've already had qualifying carried out, so we've got a 5-minute warm-up. See, I I made sure I didn't jump the gun this week, did I?
Of you this week, Mr. Goldschmidt. I can tell you that much. You remembered that we had a 5-minute warm-up.
But I mean, talking about last time out at the Red Bull Ring. I mean, okay, we're not going to talk about defending. We're leaving that alone.
No, see, now that's got me in enough trouble as it is, and it got me in
exactly.
trouble.
We're not going to talk about that. But I want to talk about forgetting George Reyes, how things have evolved in terms of the championships, respectively. Now, Peter Duke is more than likely, if Sam Berry gets a good run here at Le Mans and he finishes in the top part of it, then he's got a chance of maybe he'll overtake Peter in the standings. But you have to look at how close things are. You know, Peter's on 118 points, Sam Berry on 100, Craig Corrish 1 point behind, another further 2 points back to Harry Hartley-Price. Then you got Andy White, Hayden Young. I don't think we've seen the best of that young man in the McLaren so far, but there is a possibility that Hayden could bring a bit of a surprise here. So, I mean, who would you? I mean, if Sam does a number on everybody else, but when you look at where, you know, Hayden on his A game, he can be absolutely rapid, can't he?
He can. Do you know the worrying thing is if Mr. Reyes goes and wins the last 4 rounds? Oh,
Gesundheit.
Excuse me. If Mr. Reyes is on 40 points at the moment, if he goes and wins the last few, well, we got 3 rounds left, haven't we?
Yes. Well, including this one 4, yeah.
Yeah. So technically, that is 160 points that he can maximize. He can possibly get. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, he'll have 40 from last week, 80, and then the rounds coming up as well. So, in theory, this young man can get 40, 80, 120, 160, 200 points. So, are we saying, effectively, if he wins every race, he could win this championship if Peter Duke, Sam Berry, Craig Corrish do not break 200 points?
Yes, you could be on a very, very good train of thought there. But let's, you know, I mean, he said when I did a post-race interview with him last week, he wasn't exactly sure, but he was going to give Le Mans a go, which is fine. That's not a problem at all. But if he decides, okay, well, I want to go and race elsewhere, fine, not a problem. It means that everything goes back to normality. But I think really I'm sort of like trying to steer the focus away from this man in the Ferrari because he has been.
I know you are, and I've seen it, and that's the thing. But we have to be realistic. You know, we had this big thing, and we'll touch on it briefly. We had this big thing about defending, and I said about defending, right? And I got myself in trouble. Next, a barrage of messages come from the Discord, but the problem is, are they all sitting here saying then, well, because he's not really in the championship, we're not really going to defend? If he wins this one, he's already jumped 3/4 of that field.
Yeah, and also if he wins 3 in a row, then people in the Pro Division have got to be very, very worried, and they go, right, we've got to start fighting him now.
Yeah, that's what I
mean. I understand completely your point, and I think it's very, very relevant. So there is a possibility if George Reyes stays for the remainder of the season, everyone else better watch their game because they're going to need to be on top of it.
But then
However,
do they then roll over and go, well...
No, but the thing is the championship, and this is something I talked about, and I'm not going to go into specifics, but if someone jumps into the championship, everyone should be fighting each other. That's how a race is run. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. That's how I see it. Right, on that point, moving on, as we've got just 20 seconds until we've got the grid coming up, Harry 7 has been the tour de force, but I think when you look at in AMS, I mean, he's got a 34-point advantage over Scotty Kostrick, Mark Wesley, Joel Loudon, and James Moore. Now, James Moore is the defending champion. He has struggled when they went into him and James Vardigans, who we say get well soon to because he's not racing tonight. He's under the weather. I think if Harry 7 keeps crossing the T's, dotting the I's, he's in very, very good shape. But if he makes any kind of mistakes, Scotty Kostrick and Mark Wesley, and maybe even Joel Loud and James Moore could go at him. Right, let's bring you the grid first of all, before we have further discussions, you and I, Mr. Parfitt, during the race here at Le Mans. George Reyes will start from pole position in the Ferrari, the number 37. The number 46 McLaren of Hayden Young rounds out the front row of the grid. And it's McLaren and Mercedes on row 2 with the 86 of Andy White and teammate Tim Reed in the 155. Then it's Harry Hartley-Price and Sam Berry. Mr. Fresh Rubber rounding out the top 6. Martin Kenyon in the second, or the one of 2 Lamborghinis tonight. So Martin Kenyon makes a return to the championship. Scotty Kostrick, pole in Am for him, 8th position. Glenn Ablard and Tim Cullimore round out the top 10. Quintin Clumpert, James Moore, Mark Wesley. And then we've got Sean Clark, Simon Nelthorpe, Raymond Van Zutpheldt, Joel Loudon, Chris Haynes. Alex Pante is a new one as well, who's just joined us. Sindre Johansson, bit of a shocking qualifying for the Norwegian, down in 20th with Paul West. And Mr. Harrods himself, Marc Ogier, rounding out the 22-strong grid.
Did you notice who was missing? Did you notice who was missing?
Alex Pante, yeah, on that one. Yeah, he's
Harry 7's not here.
Yeah, Harry 7's not here. Who else? Yeah, Craig Corish is not here either.
Yeah, Harry 7's not here. So basically, Harry 7's AMS is going to be an interesting one to see how that goes on as well. Wookiees at YouTube chat. Let's go, boys. Mr. Fresh Rubber himself, he says. Maybe not in that accent, but probably something along those lines. And as always, our resident race director, Connor Pink, is in his usual position. Alex Pante starting for pits, from the pit lane, missed the start. Thank you very much, Mr. Connor Pink, a former competitor, now with Ben et al. He is now the man that is overseeing what is happening in the bigger picture of what we will see over the next 90 minutes. So, who's going to get the whole shot on this one as the Mustang safety car leads them on the way down towards they're going through Corvette, Maison Blanche. They're just going past they're going very close to the Esses de Karting. They're going to have the Ford complex coming up, and then it will be the Ford chicane that will then lead us onto the start-finish straight. So 90 minutes at Le Mans. We'll be going to Mexico next time out, if I remember correctly, for round 6 for a 60-minute encounter. But George Reyes and Hayden Young, will they be line astern coming through the Ford chicane? Not quite, but it's about who gets the jump and gets on the accelerator. Now we start building speed. Red lights on the gantry here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and round number 5 is green. We're underway, and straight off the bat, George Reyes up towards the first few corners, up to the Dunlop corners here at the first opening couple of turns. I think we've got around about 30 plus turns here at Le Mans as they go underneath the Dunlop Bridge, and now it's going to be the run through. Oh dear, now that is not good for a certain Simon Nelthorpe, and he's got Mark Wesley in front of him. He's also got Sean Clark in front. What happens here? He's locked up straight away. Bang, straight into the wall, and the front end. He's going to run all the way around the circuit as everyone is up to full speed as we head onto the Mulsanne for the first time, heading towards the first of the Hunaudière, which is basically the chicanes. Marc Ogier has got a slowdown penalty that he's got to serve very quickly, and we'll have plenty of time to do that. Meantime, in the background, Tim Cullimore trying to go side by side with Glenn Abelard for 9th overall. But nice and neat and tidy, apart from the exit stage right and smack your front nose into the bumper. But that's Hayden Young! Hayden Young has lost it through the first chicane on the Mulsanne. Straight into the wall, nose deep, no go past go or anything like that. He literally come out and that back end went. Watch that back end, it comes through the power, puts on the power, gets onto the marbly sticky slippery stuff, and goes nose deep into the wall. But look at here, Martin Kenyon having a nice little battle with Scotty Kostrick, Glenn Ablard as well. Glenn put in the Discord that he can't make Indianapolis for the 23rd time, apparently. So that's scary for anybody in and around Glen Ablard going down Indianapolis, which they are doing very shortly after they're going through Mulsanne Corner. So this could be an interesting 4-car fight here. 84 and 15 is being investigated. Not sure who that was, to be blatantly honest. That's Raymond Van Zutphen and
Sindre Johansson.
Sindre Johansson, so clearly they've had something going on. But coming into Mulsanne, and Glen Ablard makes it through here, but can he make it through Indianapolis?
Yeah, that's the thing, because now Glen Ablard trying to stay with Scotty Kostrick, who's got Martin Kenyon in a 03 Lamborghini. They're going to go all the way down towards Indianapolis and then Arnage. And we ride on board with Glen Ablard in the number 27 Lamborghini. 8,000 RPM, 6th gear. They're pushing over 270 kilometers an hour. Scotty Kostrick trying to look for a move on the inside of Mark Kenyon as they head into Indianapolis. Will Glen Ablard make it? Gets it down to 2nd gear. Oh, Kenyon runs a bit wide and Kostrick's around the outside of him. On the run down to Arnage, is the McLaren going to be able to stop it in time? The answer is yes. Ablard tries to go around the outside in his own right, and Tim Cullimore makes it four cars there that are battling away for what is 6th position. Great anticipation there by Scotty Kostrick.
Yeah, absolutely. He saw what was going to happen there. Glen Ablard was twitchy as hell going into Indianapolis. His steering wheel was having a right little ding-dong with itself as Martin Keogh just almost put Scotty Kostrick out on the inside. Scotty down 3 places. Quinton Klumper and Sean Clark. Well, I'm not quite sure what they've done, but whatever they've done, I think they may have done it together here as well. Sean just in the background. And Quinton's going to go running off wide, come back round. Oh, Sean was already loose, I think, from that one.
Liking the new livery, Quentin Klumper. It's got the Flying Dutchman emblazoned all over it on that one. And here's a replay. Rejoins. Oh, well, Sean has made a pig's ear going through into Indianapolis and then hip checks Quentin Klumper. So they're all the way down. Well, Klumper in the meantime has got past Paul West, and it's musical chairs between those three. Oh, Quentin Klumper's in the pits. Incident involving car 68 at 8, Sean Clark and Quentin Klumper. No surprise, really, being investigated, but I think it might have just been a little bit of a racing incident. Quentin Klumper went off of his own mishap, and then Sean Clark did his own mishap to himself and just caught out as the 2 Lamborghinis through the Dunlop corners go wheel to wheel, side by side as they get ahead to Tetra Rouge, and Kenyon spins it.
He's warmed his tyres too much. That's a second form of little spin that Kenyon's had an issue, and unfortunately I think Ian's now just sitting on literally burning rubber. I don't think he's sitting on anything else at this moment in time. He's going to have to give them tyres a few laps to calm down. Reyes still out in front. He's got Reed, White, Hartley Price. It's a Clark St. James peloton chasing down that leader. So let's see whether or not these 3 boys can make a difference here on Reyes, because also behind that, Moore and Cullimore is also having a nice little battle with Kostrick. You just see him in the background there as they're coming into the first chicane. Cullimore goes through, puts Kostrick right into the hands of Moore.
Yeah, no further action as I thought there might be between Sean Clark and Quentin Klumper, who did go into the pit lane and had engaged in a fast repair, but this is a great battle here between Scotty Kostrick. Right, James Moore has got to slow down, so he will have to serve that momentarily, but that Aston Martin very, very quick around the circuit here at Le Mans and is battling for the AM class lead. So Sindre Johansson has lost out to Mark Wesley, so Mustang versus McLaren. But in the meantime, George Reyes, I think, knew when he came to Le Mans he was not going to have an opportunity to scarper away like he did, getting through the field as he did at the Red Bull Ring. I think now everyone's decided, well, Le Mans is Le Mans. It is going to decide who the winner will be. And George Reyes may not have that Le Mans sunshine basically beaming down on him as over to the outside goes Scotty Kostrick, and is going to try and see through at Mulsanne Corner if he could do the switchback. Cullimore runs a little bit wide, left rear wheel into the gravel, and still, well, Chris Haynes now picks up a slowdown penalty, so he's going to have to serve that. And right behind him, he's got Roman van Zutphen. Sindre Johansson has got through. Oh, warning for bad re-entry to car number 86. That is going to be Andy White. And Scotty Kostrick again, trying to see if he can get past that wonderful liveried Mercedes with the Castrol and BP livery of Tim Cullimore. He's trying to get through on him at the moment. They've just gone through Indianapolis, now into Arnage. And Scotty got that all kind of crossed up and wrong.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately, there as well, as these guys continue to go at the front end on board now as well. You can see there Mr. Reed in his Mercedes. There's the Ferrari in front of us at the same time. Through Maison Blanche, we're on our way now as well, coming into this final part of this racetrack. And who's going to come out on top? Can Reyes? This is the only thing that makes me wonder, if we were on a smaller track, how far away would Reyes be? I think the draft is saving a lot of these people.
Well, the thing is down the Mulsanne, it's always been mighty, and then also coming out of Indianapolis, it's all, out of Arnage, you've got a lot of straight line speed. You can really use the power of the cars that you're driving along. But still, George Reyes is leading Tim Reed, who's just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 3-minute 55.945. Now, the biggest thing here, folks, is that yes, we've got a 60% fuel limit, but they are using a lot more fuel per lap when they are driving for 13.626 kilometers. That's the official length of this circuit. And now we're going to see, let's keep on board with Tim Reed at the moment, as we are about to head through into Tetra Rouge and then head on to the Mulsanne. Oh, bit of a cross up there for Tim Reed. He managed to catch it as they go through into Tetra Rouge, lift off, coast it through. And now the speed is going to start to build. 140 miles an hour up to fifth gear, 150 and climbing, 158, 159, 160. We've been seeing speeds of around, I think with the slipstream, around about 186. And you can see now that Andy White right on the back of Tim Reed, and there is bump drafting going along. Andy White was indicated at 178 miles an hour in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. 3 slowdown penalties going to James Moore, Joel Loudon and Mark Wesley in the AM classification. So Raymond van Zutphen gains a place. Tim Reed has just got a slowdown penalty as well. And now this is going to give an opportunity. Well, Reed is going to try and go towards the outside. What is Andy White planning? He's going to, well, I think he went to the left to try and keep out of the way, maybe try and serve some of that slowdown penalty, but he hasn't served it all yet.
No, he's going to have to try and get it off here. I think this is going to be his chicane if he can. He's going to be very slow. Very slow. Coming out the other side. There you go. It's off and gone. Tim Cullimore is having a right little ding-dong with Mr. Kostrick here. He's been swapping places a couple of times. Mark Wesley is also having a nice little battle with Sean Clark. There's a Porsche of Alex Pante back there in the form of Rexy. It's also Rexy animated, which is quite cool. He's got I think that's an anime lady on the side. However, that car does not look comfortable. So whether or not that's steering, we are straight, but it isn't looking too healthy as we go here. And have a look on the side, just for good health. She is not quite sure who she is, because I don't watch anime. But there we go. I'm sure she's somebody with the Rexy teeth.
Taking a bit of
teeth in the cartoon.
Yeah, well, the thing is that that's not the only car that's got some anime bodywork on it. And of course, Mark Wesley hits one of the cones whilst chasing down Sean Clark. Mark Ozier's doing really well at this moment in time, as we've hit the 10-minute mark completed here at Le Mans. Mark, we know him from OGRL, which runs on the JPB Broadcasting Network Sundays. He's really been getting his teeth into this McLaren 720S GT3, and the McLaren has always been strong. It's a 4-litre twin-turbo V8. Sean Clark's trying to go around the outside of him. On the run down into Indianapolis, Sean, you are chancing fate here. And Sean gets it done. He goes round the outside. He kept his foot well and truly nailed to the floor. And here comes the recovering Mark Kenyon, making it 3 wide into Arnage, of all places. That nearly could have gone very wrong, but in the meantime, Mark Wesley dropped behind. He said, I did not want any part of this at all.
No, I wouldn't want any part of that either, to be blatantly honest. I'd sit and survive and see who gets through, but Andy White has got closed the door right up to Mr. Reyes now as well. Jeremy, you can see YouTube chat. Clark St. James boys looking strong, and Mr. Vardigan's James Moore, Camo, what?
Yeah, come on. I think it's probably the way.
Okay. Why is there a W in the middle? Anyway, and Tim Reed
I
Fan
can't
Club
spell.
is reported in. There's Josh in
Bless him.
YouTube chat as well. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would say you joined us at a pivotal point, but you have really, because Andy White is closed right back in to Mr. Reyes, and we're going to see whether or not he can go and have a go at him.
Well, there's also been a warning given to Martin Kenyon for bad re-entry. Well, no, it's actually in between car 3 and car 88. So that is Martin Kenyon and Mark Wesley. Mark Wesley now behind Simon Nelthorpe in Grello. As now Andy White is through on George Reyes because the Ferrari got a slowdown penalty. Oh, Quinton Clumpert's got insult to injury, and it's 2 Mustangs at the back of the field. Both him and Sindre Johansson have had a torrid time in this race so far. But nevertheless, that has now given the opportunity for Andy White to scarper away. Scotty Kostrick going down the Mulsanne side by side with Tim Cullimore. Cullimore to the outside, Kostrick to the inside. They are going to be heading into the second of the Hunaudiers, and Kostrick later on the brakes carries the speed through rather nicely. Don't gun it too early like we saw with Hayden Young earlier on. Now, where is Hayden at the moment? Currently running 11th place, so a good recovery from Hayden after smacking the barriers hard.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There was only one saving grace for Hayden Young, and that is the fact that he did it on lap 1. He did it on lap 1 right at the beginning. He's still got over 60-odd minutes to recover, and he knows pit stops are coming. Sean Clark has just had another little ding-dong. Whether or not that's with himself or the barrier, we'll have a look back at that one in a minute. So for this one, he's got plenty of time to start doing that. Start going past the field. 5-second penalty given to 88 for causing a collision. Who is 88? Poor old Mark Wesley.
Mark Wesley.
What did he do? Where did he do that?
That would have been when we might have had the 3-wide moment between Ogier, Kenyon and Wesley going into Arnage. And, he turned in. So Kenyon was in the middle. Oh, no, this could be it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, this will be where it might have been. Let's have a look here. Oh, no, that was when he spun by himself.
Yeah.
But it would have been the 3-wide moment because you had Mark Ogier, Martin Kenyon, and Mark Wesley side by side going 3-wide into Arnage. But let's
Clark doing something rather precarious.
Oh, he lost it.
Oh, mate, he did as well. Slid up, unfortunately, but Cullimore's still there with Scotty Kostrick. Kostrick leading the hounds. Black flag for Mark Wesley. Somebody did something naughty. Even that.
That was more than naughty and seeing the headmaster. I think that's going to be expulsion for Mark Wesley. As we are waiting for our good resident race steward, Mr. Connor Pink. He's just typing frantically away, and I'll get that notification very, very shortly. Might be the fact he's hit his instant limit.
He can't have hit his instant limit already. Blimey.
Right. Okay, well, 5-second penalty given to car 88. Car 3 was up the inside. It was his corner, so that would have been Arnage. Oh, now Andy White has just been clobbered with a slowdown penalty. So I would imagine, that the thing is with the Le Mans, there's a lot of corners when you can get it wrong. Oh, there's Fresh Rubber having a little bit of a wiggle with the back end, coming out of the Ford chicane. So now Andy White. Oh, George Ray. Right. Car 88 did not. Oh, Mark Wesley did not serve his slowdown penalty. Oh, and Andy White hasn't served his, so he gets a black flag as well. Oh dear.
Silly boys.
Guys, you know that I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but if you know you got a slowdown, serve it ASAP.
Yep. Oh, Mark Wesley, you got that all Pete Tong, son. Got that wrong. Chris Haynes is having a nice little battle here with Martin Kenyon. I think Kenyon's going to go through. That is complete pro-am. No need to have a battle on that one. So unfortunately, there's a couple of people on there. Mark Wesley and Andy White. Andy White, you should know better to not get a slowdown and not be able to get it off, son. If you try to run the track, you should have got on the brakes a little bit earlier, but unfortunately for him, he is going to have to go in pit lane. Scotty Kostrick is there, but Scotty's got Cullimore still around, and these two stuck together like Velcro as Tim Reed and Andy White swap places due to Andy's penalty incoming, of course.
James Hardigans, apologies, got the plague from the office. Oh, the office plague, never nice to have that. Again, so not racing this evening. Well, get well soon, James. Hopefully we'll see you next week, mate, for round number 6.
Come have some fun.
And,
come join us.
Yeah, Glenn's put in the GT3 discussion before we went racing. Yeah, just like you said, just 21 or 22 times to try and not die going into Indy. Well, Glenn Ablard's done pretty well so far. And for those wondering about the remainder of the calendar, we've got the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. That's the Mexico City Grand Prix layout. Next week, we then go to the Circuit Barcelona to Catalonia, and then we head to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 90 minutes at the season finale.
Oh,
so yeah.
No way.
Sean, Sean, you've been summoned.
You give me 90 minutes at Indy. Sean Clark, you bully. God.
You know what? Probably just to I was just waiting for you to do your Muttley from Wacky Races impersonation.
Dude, I'd rather do 90 minutes at Nordschleife. I physically would. I'd do 90 minutes at Nords all day, every day. Because I think Nords has got a lot more to it. High curves, carousels that can go wrong, and the dotting a hoe, and all of this sort of thing, and down the hill from Fransgard, Blue Platz, Arenberg, Adenauer Forest. And it's got character, it's got something about it. This is go straight, turn right, left, go straight, turn left, right, go straight, turn right, go straight, turn left. No! No!
We want it where you need to go from 6th to 2nd, up to 4th, down to 3rd, up to 5th.
Yeah, give them something to have a go with. Bonkers. Never mind. I didn't decide the calendar. Yeah, I didn't decide the calendar. Yeah, we just come here and talk about it.
Yeah. So 20 minutes gone. Andy White gets another slowdown. Andy, come on. Even though he's got now, what the interesting thing is? Okay, yes, Harry Hartley-Price is now up into P3. Tim Reed is the leading Clark St James car and is now 3.3 seconds. Make that 3.1. What's happened to Andy White? Oh, he's in the pit lane.
Serving his penalty.
Yep. Trundle of shame down the pit lane, as we like to call it here on JPB.
Why is he stopping?
He can't. No, he's got.
I didn't think he could stop to get rid of his black flag, Mr. Connor Pink, if you are listening.
I don't think he. No.
If he stops, that black flag's still going to be there. And then I believe he'll have one more lap. So he's got to go round and come straight back in again.
Yes, that's exactly what he's got to do. So, yep. So he's got to serve that, and well.
I thought the black flag was a drive-through. I don't believe it's a stop and hold, unless all of a sudden I haven't driven for so long that it is now a stop and hold.
Well, no. I mean, a black flag is normally a drive-through penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I am a little bit concerned.
We might be told otherwise by Mr. Connor Pink, who's frantically typing in race control. Hasn't cleared it, so yes, he's still So black flag is a drive-through penalty. Mark Wesley. Now this, I would have served the drive-through penalty first, and then come in to do the pit lane. But as I said, this is a fuel-hungry circuit here at Le Mans.
He hasn't got the penalty. I think we're wrong, Connor. I think we're wrong. I think he's got to stop and hold for whatever it is he did. But I am very shocked that is the case now. I presume that was still the drive-through, as Ossier and Haynes are going at each other, and Haynes has gone through. I am going to... It was a 40-second stop for some reason. Yeah, stop and hold. I don't I am on the understanding that they're normally drive-throughs.
Unless
I have not driven for so long, so it could have changed quite rapidly at some point there as well.
Or it could have been the fact if you sped going into the pit lane. We've had that before.
Yeah, but not to get rid of a slowdown penalty. Normally, if you don't get rid of a slowdown penalty, as far as I'm aware, and it has been the same for the last 4 years up until clearly tonight, it was always a drive-through. You got a drive-through. But the difference is, with a stop and hold, they'll give you a 40-second stop and hold. But if you turn off tyres, turn off fuel, turn off your rip strips for the window as well, your stop and hold goes down to like 2 seconds. So clearly some of these haven't quite mastered that technique of turning everything off at the same time. So as Kostrick and Cullimore are now running side by side. I think they've just seen most of the track side by side, to be honest with you, these two.
Strangers in the night exchanging glances is the lyrics. But even though it's in the daytime at Le Mans, they, as you rightly say, they have been pretty much attached by Velcro at the moment. Quinton Clumpert has now just received a slowdown penalty. So as Joel Loudon is looking pretty racy. He's currently P3 at the moment as he's behind the Spirit of Yorkshire Distillery Lamborghini of one Mr. Mark Kenyon, whose race hasn't quite gone according to plan here tonight at Le Mans. But yeah, it's been quite interesting, of course, with the 60% fuel limit. Some of the cars are going to be a little bit easier on the fuel tanks, and some aren't, as Cullimore and Kostrick go through the Porsche curves at about 240 kilometers an hour in fifth, sixth gear. One of the fastest turning circuits where you have to use a bit of balance and a bit of poise. And I could see that Mr. Cullimore a little bit more raggedy in comparison with Scotty Kostrick there going through the Porsche curves.
But he also carried a lot more speed. He carried speed and got right up to the back of Kostrick as well. He's if you keep doing that, you are going to be in trouble. Wookie, I would love to read out what you put, but I can't really translate what you're trying to ask us. Does give Rain Doe Boys entertainment potentially? It's like you picked 7 random words and put them together in a sentence. So
is it a Yoderism? Is it a Yoderism?
I really don't know, to be honest. I think he's saying, is there going to be rain? I didn't see any rain on the radar. Is there going to be rain? Will it provide more entertainment potentially?
Well, yes, it would do if everyone's halfway around the lap and they get caught in the downpour.
Yes,
but it's cloudy. The track temperature 32 degrees centigrade, 21 degrees there. So at the moment, Wookie Wanderer, no rain on the horizon here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, but we are coming down to. Oh, right. We were talking about it, and we've just been informed by Connor Pink, potential rain on radar in 20 minutes.
So there we go.
Wookie Wanderer, I think your prayers might be answered.
Yeah, maybe.
May.
What? Dude, like, I'm old. What are you saying?
Look, we're not in with the kids with all this terminology like yat and God whatever else.
It's like talking to my teenage boy and I still don't understand what he talks about.
Right. That's another thing I've got to say. Where's George hiding? Isn't he meant to be racing tonight?
Yeah, no, he's unfortunately has broken his headset, and obviously he can't do nothing. So yeah, unfortunately for George, he ain't got a headset currently at this moment in time.
And looks like Mr. Andy White is not taking any further part in the race as of
now.
Yeah, effectively lap 5. So
he's been in the pit lane for absolutely ages, so I'm not quite sure what he's been up to or what he's doing. But either way, he's unfortunately out. Cullimore, however, is still going with Kostrick. I think these two are going to come out of this and message each other in the Discord, and it will be like literally a bromance because of how good they've been doing together and how side by side they were and everything else as well. Fluky, car got retired, held on 0.1 on the slowdown all the way through turn 1.
Okay, turn 2, yeah, Fluky 86, that's Andy White then. Yeah, that's Andy White.
Must be. And unfortunately, it just didn't get rid of the slowdown and bugged out, and then he got black flagged and Well, the rest of the driver is sitting
poor
in the
Andy.
pit. Yeah, I think Andy's probably spotting now, I would have thought, for Reed and Hartley Price. As Reyes is 6.5 seconds down the road. So there we go, as we're on board with Mr. Tim Cullimore, as we go through Arnage and on the run down into Porsche curves.
So we're not that far away, I think, probably from our true realistic first set of pit stops, because we've seen it in the 90-minute Enduros, JP, through the recruitment races that we had, as Tim Cullimore trying to get a little bit brave going into the Porsche curves here at Le Mans, and that's at fourth gear at 130 miles an hour. That's 210 kilometers per hour, and starts accelerating through but that part of the circuit. You can just see that he is carrying a little bit more speed, possibly, but then Scotty Kostrick manages to get through. As I say that, Tim Reed, Harry Hartley-Price and Sam Berry have pulled into the pits, so first set of pit stops are incoming here at Le Mans.
Yeah, Cullimore's in as well. I think he spent most of his fuel trying to chase down Scotty Kostrick there. Reyes still out on the racetrack. Reed's in, Price is in, Berry's in, Ablard's in, Cullimore's in. To be honest with you, I would be debating whether or not to go in, get fuel, get tyres, and go absolutely hell to leather right up until the point if it rains. Then that way you're coming to the end of your fuel cycle, you'll get your rain tyres on at the same time, and you'll be on your bike. So I can see why some of these have done these. Don't get me wrong, you know, Reyes, Kostrick and Young. Well, Young went in early, didn't he? Of course. No, he didn't. He didn't actually. Hasn't gone in to get his steering repaired at all. Is he broken from hitting the wall earlier on?
Doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like he's broken. But he did.
But let's wait until he gets on the Mulsanne, and then we'll see how far out of alignment that steering is, as he now goes on to the Mulsanne and is rocketing up to 160 miles an hour in sixth gear. So now it's on the straight line stuff. No, doesn't look like it impacted his steering at all. Probably just that the front end took a little bit of a knock.
No, I think that could be the one there as well. I think the front end just took a little bit of a bump, and he's managed to carry on. Hayden Young there sitting in third. Price, where did Reyes come out at the moment? Where is Reyes? Oh, he's
halfway down the Mulsanne, yeah.
Oh, yes, because he didn't pit it, did it? Sorry, my mistake. I thought he did pit it. So that we'll find out where the guys in and around him come out. The likes of Tim Reed, Hartley Price as well, and Sam, of course, on that one. So we'll see how they all get out on that one. Unlucky, Andy, but good for Sam. So, yeah, boy. I'm going to ignore the profanity in the middle, Mr. Wookie. So, yeah.
Yeah, can we... Yeah, Wookie Wanderer, I think just reel it in with the language, I have to say. We are...
I suppose, to be honest, Alex, I think we've done broadcasts where it was a lot worse than that. So, you know...
we had to ban a few... We had to shadow ban a few people as well, didn't we?
Exactly. So I'm going to let him get away with that one, because I don't think that's too dramatic. It could have been a lot worse. So, yeah.
Oh, Wookie Wanderer, that's your first strike.
Yeah, you're a naughty boy. Don't do anything.
Now go and sit in the corner with the dunce's hat on.
Nice. Oh, go on, Sindra and Sean, as they battling side by side. Who's going to go? Aren't they both running? Sindra's 172. You're on. Oh, we're going to. Doesn't matter because Sindra got him anyway.
Oh.
However, sideways Mustang. Sorry, sir, as he says in YouTube chat. So well done.
So, apology accepted, Mr. Wookie Wanderer. Thank you very much. But here goes Shawnee Clark and another bite of the cherry, so to speak. And he's going to be very, very brave as Sean round the outside. Oh, they're going to hit each other. I knew that was going to happen. Sean, you could have kept a little bit further away.
Oh, I don't even know which way that went.
No, look,
They're
Sean.
Both moving.
They're both moving, and it's 5 of one. It's one of one and 500 of the other. So you can see that Sindra is trying to maximise his entry into the corner, Sean just thinks, well, I'm going to put it.
Oh, I don't know. Looking at that, I don't know if Sindra did that. However,
I think it's all on Sean.
Oh, I don't think so. I do not think so on that one. Let us know in YouTube chat where your opinions lie. Because watch Sindra's white line. Watch the white line down the middle of his car. Watch Sean's white line. So Sean's coming over. Sindra's come over, bang. Oh, I don't know.
That's a 50-50, and I'm not going to say that I'm sitting on the fence because otherwise you get splinters in your backside. But yeah, that was. I mean, if one had turned in quite excessively, then yes, you could probably put blame to that person. But it was. I think they both had the same intent, but it was from it was the to me, to you, to me, to you, bang, off.
I think Sean tried to squeeze Sindra, and the problem is Sindra said, no, I'm not going anywhere. But the problem is one was sort of directed left, the other one was directed right, and they've both gone and done it. But the problem is, as we know, you don't crash on a straight where you can go 4 wide down the race circuit. There is physically no need to be crashing on a straight where you can go 4 wide, even in these cars. So, hey, we'll leave Connor to dissolve, to dissect that one. But I don't know which way that's going to go. But if it goes one way, it's going to kick off. Craig Jones, I always crash on straights. Well, Craig, you barely can find your way around the race circuit, so I don't know about
on
crashing.
cue.
Yeah, don't know about crashing there, sir. As Mark Wesley gets it all a little bit peaked on and goes sideways. Now, the interesting thing for me, Clark St James boys, they are currently 9 seconds back from Reyes. Now, the question is, are they going to fight or are they going to try and chase Reyes down? At this moment in time, I think they're going to try and chase him down. So there we go.
Yeah. And it's also the case of who is going to be leading that charge. Because if the Aston Martin in the hands of Hartley Price is faster than that Mercedes of Tim Reed, then it may be the better course of action to let Harry go past and go right. And because I have to say, yes, we had the Aston Martin make its debut. I think, was it Red Bull Ring? Wasn't it? The thing is that the car itself is still, in many respects, since its release on the iRacing server, it is still a bit of an unknown quantifiable. What I mean by that, folks, is that people are still getting to grips, getting used to the nuances of how the car handles. But in a straight line, that car is also, in its own right, pretty rapid.
I do agree with you, and I think that's the thing as well. But the problem is you still shouldn't crash on a straight. that's the question.
Shorty.
At a racetrack where you can go 4 wide. Yes, the Aston is new, and the Mustang's relatively new. When you think about it, it's not very old in the GT3 front. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, you still shouldn't be doing that. No further action.
No further action.
Absolute fence sitter, Mr. Connor Pink.
Splinters in the bum, on course for target.
Oh, Connor. He chose the safe way out of that one. He was like, I can't give a penalty for that. No, NFA, not happening. So there we go. Yeah. But we kind of funny feeling that might come because one was going left, one was going right. And that was basically the end of it. I think Sean Clark is not going to be happy. I think the song of getting sacked in the morning might come back to Connor Pink to haunt him.
Harry Hartley Price has just got a... Right, okay, a little bit of further explanation. Incident involving car 68, Sean Clark, and car 15, Sindra Johansson. No further action. Racing incident. They were both moving all over the place. 15 moved left, then right, then 68 moved right and left. Very slight movements. So, I think in some ways how I sort of... Well, I didn't use the microscope and tweezers to try and dissect everything, but it was a case of it was very, very marginal, because if one person had moved aggressively over onto the other patch that the other driver was on, then yes, there would have been a definite cause for a potential penalty coming somebody's way. But yeah, it was so close, and it was so difficult for us both to get a read on it. Mark Kenyon has just received a slowdown penalty, and he's got the defending AM champion of James Moore from Upshift Esports right on his case, coming out of the forward chicane and onto the start-finish straight. So Kenyon will have to serve his slowdown penalty imminently. Obviously, he doesn't want to get a black flag like we saw with poor old Andy White and Mark Wesley earlier on in the race.
Yeah, exactly. And well, Andy seemed to have bugged out on that one, but Martin there gets rid of the slowdown, going up into the left-hander, of course, of Dunlop. So these guys having a nice little battle. This isn't for a place. No, what am I trying to say? This is the pro and am battle. This isn't a interclass battle.
Exactly. So, but still, nevertheless, it's great to see the pros and the AMs dueling against each other.
Why not?
In this championship.
It's a long circuit, mate, and if you end up on your own, you're bored, aren't you? You know what I mean?
You're like Billy No Mates.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a video.
James Moore. Oh, come on. Elbows out, sunshine. He's bump drafting. Mark Kenyon. Oh, he pulls out at the last moment to the right-hand side of the Lamborghini and into the chicane. They're going to go very shortly. I think James Moore is going to have the inside line. Mark Kenyon, what does he do? He throws it around the outside of the Aston Martin. Does he get the traction coming out of the corner? Moore's got a better run on him again. This is going to be rather close. And look, James Moore, he's probably got the James May sensation of buffeting right about now because he's right in that dirty air.
Yeah, he's tucked up right behind him. You see that's about as close as we can see into the skirt of the Lamborghini. Ooh, steady there for Martin Kenyon as these guys continue to fight it out through the second Mulsanne now down into Mulsanne corner, and unfortunately for Moore, he's just lost a little bit of time on that corner alone, and now he's going to have to do it all again.
But he's not one to give up, is James Moore. Of course, him being the defending champion in the AM class. Of course, as I said earlier on, both him and James Vardigan's right. We've got a replay here. Oh, Simon Nelthorpe, what have you done to Grello? He's got no rear wing on that thing, and it's going to tank slap all over the place at the Porsche curve. Bang! Straight into the barriers as Simon Nelthorpe's race goes from bad to worse. He's already had one big prang, and that was before he even completed a quarter of the opening lap, and now he's done it again here on lap 10. Yeah, now Mark Wesley. What has Mark done with the McLaren? Don't tell me. Is he going to lose it on application of the throttle? Exactly the same as Hayden Young, and bang! Straight into the barriers. Oh, dearie me. Oh.
And that, unfortunately, is just putting your foot on the pedal far too quickly. So there we go.
Yeah, decided to go for give it the berries on the loud pedal, and goodbye, sweetheart. Bang, straight at the barriers. Oh dear. But that's the problem with these cars. Sam Berry is fresh rubber no mates at the moment. Currently 11.7 seconds down on Harry Hartley Price. Now, speaking of which, obviously we were talking about the championship permutations. Well, Craig Corish not here at the moment. So we got Tim Reed's just got a slowdown penalty. I would estimate that at this point, Harry Hartley Price, if he stays where he is at the moment, or he gets second, he will become the new championship leader ahead of Sam Berry in the pro side of things.
I think you might be right there. I think you might be right, but it's going to be an interesting one to see how this one all pans out, of course, as we haven't got long left, Mr. Goldschmidt, of the season.
No, we haven't. So we've got 3 more races left to go. 2 60-minute races and then an enduro at Indianapolis to round out the season. And I'm going to say 90-minute enduro finale, and I'm not going to mention the I word that ends in opolis anymore.
I'm sure it's going to be a gripping and thrilling encounter at a very boring circuit. Just saying. Opinions, of course, can vary, and let me know in YouTube chat, of course.
Yes. Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, JP, we are all human beings.
We are.
We are all entitled to our opinions, and the thing is, there's always that saying, isn't there? We can agree to disagree, can't we?
We can. We can. So, the thing is, don't get me wrong, right? My opinion has no weight or consideration in anything, and I ain't going to affect world peace if they'll say anything. Let's just put it that way about a race circuit. But it's just people's opinion. And at the end of the day, some people like Indy, some people don't like Indy, some people like Le Mans. I love Interlagos, others may hate Interlagos. That's just the way opinions work, and that's what gives us our freedom of independence as a person. We can decide what we want to do. It's called choice. So, don't take my word for it that I don't like this. That I might not like it, but, Wookie might love it. Or, Fluky or anybody else, or James Vardigans might love it. But I just don't. I find it long, I find it boring, and I just find it's got nothing to it that really enthralls me for the racing.
I think, like you say, Le Mans is typically, when you get like multi-class racing, so you have like, say, Hypercar, LMP2, GT3. Oh, and the rain's coming! Oh, the rain is coming down here at Le Mans. Wookie Wanderer has just had his prayers answered, but there was a small spatter of rain, and I'm getting information directly from race control. Connor Pink is on the mission. I can feel the burning. First change to wet tyres. Yeah, there's going to be a first change to wet tyres because there is rain on the back straight.
There is.
So now the big question is, ladies and gentlemen,
Raymond van Zutphen's got them. He's got them on his car. But the question is how intense is that rain going to be? And Marc Ossier may have just found out how bad that rain is, but it should not
Oh no, not Mark.
It should not go this quickly. Yeah. Oh no, he hit the outside. He picked up some dust and unfortunately spun round. I am surprised that if it's this quick, I don't think Reyes is going to go in. I don't think it's come down deluge enough to do that. It's 2% at the moment, nothing major. Track temperature 29 degrees, sorry. But I think if this carries on and we see some people have dramas over this lap, depending on how the deluge is, of course, depending on whether or not we'll get people on wet tyres. But I think Mr. Raymond van Zutphen, I think you may have been a little bit early.
Well, it's now coming through at the Dunlop curves and on through to Tetra Rouge. So George Reyes is basically the first driver that is going to be tested by these conditions. He is the guinea pig at the front end of the field, and now he's going to be harrying down in that 296 GT3 Ferrari, a breakneck speed, 6th gear. Right, Mark Kenyon dives into pit lane. And then, lightning in 5 minutes, and then 99% through the remainder of the race. We're being told by our race control, and also radar spotter for us too here in the commentary position, Mr. Connor Pink. Thank you as always for the information. So Mark Kenyon is now in the pit lane. I think he might. Yeah, I think the thing is that Raymond van Zutphen tried his early Jensen Button strategy. It might not have worked, but the lap times will also reflect what's going on here. So George Reyes, I mean, yeah, like it's like a small shower at the moment. Marc Ogier now dives into pit lanes. Kenyon has switched to wets. Well, someone wanted spice in this 90-minute Le Mans race. The Wookie Wanderer. Well, it seems like you're a happy man, according to the YouTube chat. And Walter van Dijk goes, go Raymond van Zutphen. So, another Dutchman cheering on his countryman.
I think that's
Marc
his uncle.
Ogier. Oh, it's his uncle, is it?
I believe either that's his... Wouter is the nephew of Raymond. I cannot remember which way round it is. But I'm sure Wouter's been in before and has said to me all about it. Is my uncle in this race? Yeah, I can't remember. I think I'm right. Wouter, if I'm right, let me know. And if I'm completely wrong, just tell me, no, James, you're thinking of somebody else, which is a complete possibility at my age. So just let me know. But I think I am right. One of them I'm sure Vuta is the nephew of Raymond.
Okay, so we've got 43 minutes to go. The rain is starting to show intensity at this point as we are riding on board with Hayden Young, who's going to try and go for the move on Tim Cullingmore. Dives to the inside into Mulsanne corner, gets through. Tim Cullingmore didn't really want to fight that because obviously with the change in atmospherics, you really want to, one of the biggest things is getting the car home to score the points. And now Cullingmore is coming back at him as they've got the run down towards Indianapolis, and the rain is still starting to show signs around the circuit. So I think, what was it? There was one race we commentated on. Oh no, there was a race that myself and Euron O'Leary commentated on, and it was Fuji Speedway, and the rain was so bad we actually had glare. It was like an ice rink. It really was an ice rink. There was a layer of standing water on the circuit for the remainder of the race. And it looked like someone had put a mirror on top of the tarmac.
Yeah. But it's no different to the race me and you have done, where it's been rain, sun, rain, rain, sun, rain, dry, wet, you know what I mean? And that was in Montreal, but well, then again, I suppose it's Canada, anything could happen. But
well, yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, I think that... I don't think it's wet enough yet as well. Why am I giving what shift? Why are you giving me a warning for using the poop emoji? Look, you
haven't used that at all.
I know, I just did a YouTube chat because I went, oh poop, I got it wrong. Because apparently Vuta is a co-worker of Raymond.
Ah, well, there we go. Right.
So who is Raymond's? I'm sure Raymond's uncle's in this, or Raymond's nephew. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure he's been in.
Yeah, no, I think when.
I'm sure he's been in it.
Raymond joined us at round 2, didn't he? Yeah. He wasn't at the opening round of the season, and that was at Okayama, and his nephew was there then.
I believe so. Either that or we're just completely reaching for the stars and we've got this completely wrong. But I'm sure if Raymond watches it back, he will let me know in general whether or not I've even got this completely right or I've just got it absolutely peaked on. As everybody gets a little bit more spread out, the rain seemed to have eased off, to be blatantly honest. It doesn't look like it. Oh, no, it's back again there. But I still don't think it's wet enough for wets. I think the people who've gone on wets, you're far too early and you're going to spend a couple of laps sliding around like Bambi on ice. And then by the time the rain does come, them tyres are going to be dead. So there you go. 40 minutes to go.
And still all to play for.
Yeah, the fear at the moment though is, no, not that close. But Klumper has clearly got that Mercedes, that Mustang, a lot more comfortable in the rain than that Lamborghini and Martin Kenyon. I can tell you that much, as they're going side by side into the final corners.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, to be honest with you. And it is going to be quite a strange one over the next...
Quinton got it right. So he's come through out in front. So fair play to Quinton Klumper there as well. Lightning. I've never seen lightning in an iRace.
No, it was Levi Van Zupfen, Raymond's son.
How do you know that?
I just looked on the YouTube chat from race 2 at Okayama.
Oh, blimey. Look at you doing research while we're sat here. I'm just trying to get my notes out.
Mate, it's even worse when I pick up a pen and a paper and you go, God, don't trust the commentator's math to the season finale.
Mate, we don't even go there. I always do the math and then I always say, look, this is completely provisional. Do not believe anything I can do. Yep, that is his son. I can confirm, says Vuta. So there we go. So at least I've got, we've got it a little bit right. Lightning, as in the rain is getting lighter, not lightning.
Well,
what? Lightning in 5 minutes and then 99% through the remainder of the race. So in other words, what he's saying is the rain's going to ease off and then all of a sudden we're going to have a deluge of rain.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting. Now we started to get rooster tails as well. So the track's getting a little bit more wetter than it was earlier. Is it slightly wet or is it still mostly dry, apparently, according to the weather app?
That's the thing about Le Mans. Same with Spa. It can be dry, completely bone dry in one place, and then can be absolutely sopping wet somewhere else. And the same is true with Le Mans. We've still got 38 minutes to go, and Tom Cullimore's got the wipers on, and now, coming through to the Porsche curves. This ain't good. I mean, yeah, you said about Bambi on ice. I mean, you've got to keep an eye out for those curbs, because once we get a deluge of rain and it keeps on coming down quite heavily, then those curbs are going to be like rocket missiles of when tyres come into contact. If you get it all crossed up and wrong, you put that pedal down a bit too hard on the right-hand side of the cockpit, you are going to be going straight off and into the barriers, no matter how good your skill level is.
Absolutely, and I was just looking at the crossover times at the moment, but I went to take Martin Kenyon's last lap time, and it was 5.5 minutes against Reyes' 4:01. So clearly we're not at the crossover from wets to dries, as Martin Kenyon, don't get me wrong, he's no slouch, he's nearly 2K, but at the moment he's just done a 5-minute lap time on the wet tyres. So definitely I don't believe it's time for a changeover just yet. I think when that track graphic in the bottom right hand corner turns to slightly wet, then maybe we'll have a think about it, but at the moment I wouldn't even bother.
It's quite interesting though, JP. I've just seen that Roman van Zutphen's last lap time was a 4:27.8, and he's on wets. So he's been on them for a couple of laps, so it'll probably take a couple of laps for the Tim Reed, that is a bit too close to your teammate. Oh, we did see that earlier on when Harry was up the exhaust pipes to the rear diffuser of Tim in his own right before Tim got the slowdown penalty, and Tim still got the wipers going. Harry's decided, "Oh, I'm good." Right, Joel Loudon and Chris Haynes have jumped into pit lane on lap 13.
I think if they come out on wets, I think it's going to be a little bit too early.
I think probably maybe when the pit stop phases actually happen, as Tim Reid gets through on Harry Hartley-Price. Tim Cullimore's now got a slowdown penalty.
They can stop now and get to the end of the race. So they can stop now and get to the end of the race, but I think for wets, I think it's a little bit too early. I think I would drag this out for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'd probably say time it for the last pit stop, and you might be pretty okay with that. I would have thought, like, say if there's anywhere between 26 to 30 minutes left of the race, if you can make it that far.
Yeah, I think you're going to be well inside that. I don't think we're going to have a deluge just yet, and it's got to go a lot harder. It's coming down, but it isn't dramatic. You can see there on board. The track evolution is so slow. I've seen it come down on lap 12, and the drivers were still on dries by lap 31. So, you know, it's a bit hit and miss, unfortunately, what sort of impact this is all going to have on them.
Okay, well, Chris Haynes and Joel Loudon have both opted to go for wet weather tyres, which means we have 6 drivers. That now includes Paul West, the Welshman, in the number 33 McLaren. And now, Sindre Johansson has just flown past Chris Haynes, and there you see, there they are on the screen, and here comes Sindre Johansson with a bucket load of speed in the Mustang, and he's up the inside of Joel Loudon, and see ya, wouldn't want to be ya from the Norwegian.
Yeah, and he's on dry tyres. That's the thing as well, he's on dry tyres, he's not on the wets.
Yep.
You know, we can show you the wet runners. Wets are blue, dries are obviously white. I don't really need to teach you all to tell you that, but there we go, just thought I'd let you know. And you can see at the moment it's just not wet enough to warrant staying there. Look, Joe Loudon can't even get that car rotated properly. Chris Haynes is struggling as well. And Sindra says, "Thank you very much, I'm on my bike while you lot do that." So that is unfortunately what he has done. And he's escaped up the road. When that all goes blue, then I'll start thinking about and worrying about what's going to happen. But at the moment, I'm not that worried.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Roman van Zutphen's tyres must be screaming blue mercy at the moment right now, because he's dropped all the way down to the last place of our classified runners at the moment, and is well, he's over a lap down on George Reyes, who now finds himself 6 and a bit seconds ahead of Tim Reed. Now, Tim Reed on the last lap alone in the Mercedes was 9 tenths quicker than the Ferrari. So, Sindre, just keep it a little bit calm going through into Mulsanne corner. And just in front of him, well, Hayden Young has decided to dive into pit lane in the McLaren. And then that is going to promote Scotty Kostrick to 8th. Well, Scotty Kostrick has decided to pit, and this is at 32 and a half minutes approximately left to go until the checkered flag. So, Hayden switched to wets. What is Scotty going to do when he hits his marks? That's the big 64,000 franc question that French franc question we need answered very, very shortly. So that has now put James Moore into the lead of the AMS and the Aston Martin from Upshift Esports. So, come on, Scotty, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep it on dries? Are you going to... Oh, no, he's also gone on wet. So, and now, Sindre Johansson to the outside, coming through Mulsanne corner, is past Martin Kenyon. So, again, we're seeing the fact that the dry tyres are the choice at the moment. But as you rightly said, with those drivers that have bolted into the pit lane early, JP, and gone on those wets, they have really mistimed it. I think it's as much as I would like to say, yes, go on wets now. If I was a team and I was looking at Sindre Johansson, who's doing 4:05s at the minute, and then you look at Tim Reed on a dry tyre in mixed conditions on a 4-minute 0.8, the best thing would be is, as we were rightly saying, stay out as long as possible to minimise the amount of degradation that these tyres will suffer from, because the rain is still not intensifying significantly. There could be a moment when there will be a mad dash for the pit lane, but that depends on where the drivers are on the circuit as to whether they pit now, as to whether they go for it. And again, Alex Pante goes on to the wet weather tyres. I think some drivers feel that in these mixed conditions that they feel that they might not get to the end of the race.
I think the thing is, unless you're slipping and sliding and people are going off, then I would worry about it. But, Reyes on a 4:01, Tim Reed on a 4-minute, Hartley Price 4:03, all the dry runners. This is the thing. And I just don't think currently at this moment in time it is wet enough to worry about it. And you can see on their last times there, the first of the wet runners, let me try and bring them both up together. There you go. The first of the wet runners is Hayden Young. His last lap time before he went on to wets, mind you, is 4:07. You can see Reyes still on a 4:01, 4:20, 5:06, 5:06, 4:13, 4:25, 4:15, 4:48. It reads like a child's maths book in year 3 who can't do maths. It's just all over the place. And Pante's just come out and found out in the wet weather because he's just unfortunately just done this.
Oh, and this is coming through Tetra Rouge as well. On the curbing, and someone had their teeth knocked out. Paul West has just been given the meatball flag, so he's had a drama on the wet weather tyres as well. So Reyes, Reed and Hartley Price, this is going to be going through into the Porsche curves. Oh no, don't tell me you are going to do something silly. There we go, back end goes around, and left rear takes a big hit. So I would imagine now the top 5 have pitted. Make that the top 7 have pitted. And Reyes wets, Reed wets, Hartley Price. Okay, the trend is coming in now that they are all going, unless someone wants to be a brave individual. Sam Berry yet to hit his marks in the pit lane. Is he going to go to wets? Yes. Glenn Ablard and Tim Cullimore yet to stop on the marks. Well, Glenn Ablard has. He's gone to... everyone's switching. It looks like the common trend with 28 and a half minutes to go. I did say between 26 and 30 minutes here, JP, that if things are getting worse out there... Chris Haynes has gone off track in the McLaren. Sindre Johansson, however, still running on
the place. I was trying to keep an eye on him, but when he's blinking. Unfortunately, it makes it harder because it can kick me and him out at the same time. So I'm staying off him for a minute as we just keep an eye on Chris Haynes there, go off the side of the circuit. I do want to see how you get on, but I'm a little bit nervous about being on you. We'll keep an eye on Quinton Klumper, who's still on dry tyres anyway. James Moore is in pit lane. Kostrik's on wets. What is the gap to Kostrik and Klumper? I mean, Kostrik...
3.5 seconds at the moment, and it's dropping.
He's there, yeah. He's coming down at a rate of knots. I wouldn't go in. I don't think this is...
No. You know what? Out of all the cars that have been handling this a lot better, it's been the Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Klumper and Johansson have been progressively moving. I mean, Sindre Johansson qualified P20. He's now 11th. And at the moment, okay, yeah, he's running a 4 minute 12. But he is still confident enough that car to stay on track. Now, the thing is, he's going to have to pit shortly. Quinton Klumper, now, will he go wets? Yes, he does. Now, has Sindre Johansson come into the pit lane? I don't think he has. No, Johansson stayed out. So Sindre... Oh, Mark Kenyon gets a slowdown penalty. Here's Mark Wesley. What's going to happen here? Oh, dearie me. This is going to go down into Arnage. Runs a little bit deep.
Gets it a little bit wrong. Pane's been off the side of the circuit again. So we'll have to see how he goes on. Sindra's still blinking, which is a little bit of a shame because I did want to keep an eye and see what he's up to.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, let's keep an eye on his lap times at the moment. His last one, 4 minutes 11. Simon Nelthorpe's still on dries. So is Mark Wesley. So is Sean Clark. And George Reyes is now 5 point. Right, we have got a race on our hands because looking at the last lap times, George Reyes lost 1.2 seconds to Tim Reed. Harry Hartley-Price is 0.8 slower than his teammate Reed at the moment. So I think Tim Reed is the best placed person to go for a full-on guns-blazing attack against this man here for the race victory, as we have 25.5 minutes to go. The Ferrari not always as competent in the wet as a Mercedes.
Absolutely. Michael W's just joined YouTube chat. It just puts tofu delivery. I'm really a bit confused. So yeah, but there we go. Never mind. But I just don't know. I don't know. What's it doing? A little bit raining, but it's not. Track very lightly wet.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the sector times between George Reyes and Tim Reed. So Tim Reed lost half a second in the final sector, took over 0.4 out of Reyes in sector 6. Sector 5, he took 1.7 seconds out of him. Sector 4, he was 0.4 quicker, so you can see that Reyes is having to be so overcorrective with the steering in that Ferrari because that is getting a little bit tail happy coming out of corners, and now the gap is 3.6 seconds. So Tim Reed, okay, 5:09.077 for Reyes, 5:07.3 for Tim Reed and for Harry Hartley-Price, and the gap now between the top 3 drivers is 8.5 seconds. Sindre Johansson, I have to give this Norwegian some plaudits. He's still he did his last lap was a 4 minutes 11.9. He is still out on dry tyres, and so is Simon Nelthorpe, so is Mark Wesley, so is Mark Ozier, so is Sean Clark. I have to say Johansson's actually gained the most places. He's up 10 spots already, and he seems that's the thing with the Scandinavians, they do have their mixed weather conditions over there in that part of the world.
Yeah, I want to keep an eye on what he does. If he does a lap time faster than 5:09, which I believe is a representative lap time, unless he just come out the pits. But I'm interested to see what Sindra does compared to them guys on that 5:05 lap time. If he can keep his internet stable, that would really help me, because at the moment it isn't.
Michael W. Yes, I have watched Initial D before. I watched the live action movie, not the anime. It's all about a Corolla, the old school Toyota Corolla A86, which was that square looking hatchback coupe. So, right, incident limit reached for car 84 Raymond van Zutphen as Sindre Johansson with 22.5 minutes pits from 10th position. We're going to have a look at Raymond van Zutphen here. Talk us through it, JP.
Well, this is what he does to get that unfortunate incident limit. He goes round and spins it up, and that was it. Unfortunately, he's now got a 17X, which means he has to do the naughty boy trundle of shame. But I don't think Sindra needed to go in then at all, to be honest with you.
And he's switched. Oh, Sindra, you could have stayed out on dries. Oh, and now Simon Nelthorpe is in the pit lane. But in the meantime, folks, we do have what I consider to be one of the closest battles overall. And the top three covered by 8.2 seconds. George Reyes has been reeled in sector by sector by Tim Reed in the 155 Clark St James Motorsport Mercedes-Benz AMG. Now in the first he's just about level are the two in and Quinton Clumpert has just had a bit of a moment, and that has dropped him outside of the top three in the AM classification, still being led by Scotty Kostrick. James Moore is only 2.7 seconds behind him. So it is going to be the case of how Tim Reed, over the next 21 minutes, can he close that gap down? And it's come down to just around about 2 seconds. So Reyes having to deal with his own traction struggles at this point with 20 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Mark Wesley has gone down the trundle of shame down the pit lane. He's had another black flag penalty as well in the number 88. So I think his incident limit would have been reached. But Tim Reed coming out of the Porsche curves is only 1.5 seconds, 1.6 seconds behind George Reyes. Ferrari always quick in the dry, so is the Mercedes, but in the wet. That means that I think that Tim Reed is at a better strategic advantage. And look at that gap. It is closing because Tim Reed is trying to find the more saturated parts of the circuit, keep the tyres cool. Whereas what I've noticed, James, is that George Reyes, he's been running the traditional racing line, and that can sometimes burn up the wet weather tyres a bit quicker.
Yeah, it can. And it's amazing how this deluge that we were supposed to be having hasn't quite got here. It's 3%. You know, in theory, I see he's just got to slow down, and I've just seen him run wide, unfortunately, on that one. You know, if Mark's brave enough to stay out there, Alex is only 6.8 seconds and coming down up the road. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's still too early for me, but there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a case of, you know, if you love mixed conditions, then the thing is that you're probably going to want to stick on the tyre that you're going to want to do. Sean Clark out of pit lane. Not been a good one for Sean this evening, but we have to give credit to that man because he does a lot of hard work behind the scenes for TRG and Clark St James Motorsport in terms of organising this championship, getting the calendars together. So, yeah, I mean, I have to say that Mark, if I'm completely honest, he was having a fantastic race. And then it all went horribly wrong after he spun out. And the thing is that Mark, you know, as I said, he runs in the OGRL on a Sunday. As now we've got Chris Haynes and Joel Loudon. Now this is an on-track battle for the final step in the rostrum for the AM classification. So it is Aston Martin versus McLaren, and they are currently running, at the moment, 11th and 12th.
Yeah, so they're battling for final podium spot in third here. Going to find out how these guys get on. We've got 18 minutes to go, roughly 4 minutes, give or take, in the wet. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 4, 5 laps maybe. Depends on what happens up front with Reyes and Tim Reed, of course, and Harry Hartley-Price. There, everybody on the wets apart from Marc Ossier, and that gap to Alex Pantay is basically about 2.5 seconds. So he's closing on him quite quickly here as well. So yeah, big gain for Marc Ossier. He's got about 2 minutes 22 though until he catches the leader.
Paul West's black flag was for speeding in the pit lane. Whoops. Someone forgot to hit the button. That's all I'm saying on that one. But yeah, I think, yeah, you said about Marc Ossier. Sean Clark I've got showing up still on dries as well. So the only two drivers that have toughed it out in these mixed bag of conditions. And right, car 33, Paul. Yeah, that's Paul West speeding in pit lane, so that is a black flag and a drive through accordingly. But I mean, I would have loved to have seen if Sindre Johansson had decided to stick on the dries. I wonder how far that would have got him up the order come the end of this race, and would it put him in a potential contention for a top 3 in the AM? That's the big question that we won't have answered now.
No. However, Marc Ossier has closed into Alex Pantay quite quickly. No, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think he should have stayed out. I think that Mustang was weighted. I think it was suited. The track is really not that wet, with very lightly. And at the moment, as I said, the last time I watched a lightly wet track, they went from lap 12 to lap 31 and they were still on dry tyres. And they were only about 2 seconds off the lap times that they were setting on the dry tyres. So I think Ossier here has got a great opportunity to get Pan. I think no, you're coming back on. Go round him. And there you go. Whether or not he'll get Sindre, Sindra's just gone past the first, I believe that's where is he at the moment? Going down into the right, the final second Mulsanne chicane. And I don't see any reason why Ossier can't get him. He's got 4 laps to have a go, and he's did a 4:17 last time around, and Sindre did a 5:05.
That was including his. That would have been including his pit stop as well, wouldn't it?
It's going to be this one that will be the difference. But obviously, Mark's just got held up by Pantay there as well. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. But yeah, not bad at all.
There is going to be a battle now. Looking at AMS, 3rd to 7th. 3rd to 6th. Sorry, that's Loudon, Haynes, Clumpert, and Johansson. Now they are not that far apart. Chris Haynes is only 1.5 seconds behind Joel Loudon. Quinton Clumpert, in the first of the 2 Mustangs, is 4.2 seconds behind Haynes. Johansson is actually catching Clumpert. So I think that what Sindre did was to eke out those dry tyres as much as possible. This is what I see from the strategy from his perspective, is that he went in, 22.5 minutes to go. He has got fresher rubber than those in front. Chris Haynes and Joel Loudon pitted on lap 13. Quinton Clumpert's tyres are only a lap older than Sindre Johansson. So this means with 14 minutes to go, Chris Haynes is now closing that gap to Joel Loudon to, 1.1 seconds. And it is a case of, can Sindre get those tyres up to temp? If he can, then he can catch and pass the 3 in front of them, as Chris Haynes really now closing in on Joel Loudon in that battle. 11th overall, and that is for P3. And here we are on board with Chris Haynes. Wipers going frantically on the front of the 2 cars through the Porsche curves. Now they're going to be going through into karting Mise en Blanche very shortly. But Chris Haynes is now 0.7 of a second. Martin Kenyon has now dived into pit lane. Run wide there from Chris Haynes. That gives him a track limit slowdown penalty. And that will now bring Quentin Klumpert. There he is in the back of shot. Where's Sindre Johansson? Will he come through very shortly? There he is. So now the battle begins with 13 and a quarter minutes to go for P3 in the AMS, and it's McLaren. Well, it's Aston Martin, McLaren, Ford, and Ford. And let's see, can we get them all in the same shot? There he is. Out of the final corner, there is Sindre Johansson, and that is going to be the battle for not just third in the AM classification, but more importantly, that is for the final position in the overall top 10.
Oh, Mark, you kind of kill yourself, son.
Oh no!
Couldn't get it stopped, unfortunately. Missed his breaking point. Pante went back through as well. So, still very lightly wet at 3% apparently. Here with 12 minutes to go. And this is the battle for the AMS. There's Haynes, there's Loudon, there's Klumpert, all in the mix at this same time. So, yeah, it's going to get very spicy in the AMS towards the end of this. Be interesting to see how these guys get on. Up front, Reyes and Reed. Reed's close right in on the back of Reyes at the moment. And we'll see whether or not he's going to be able to get him.
Yep, and the lap times were pretty even between the pair of 4:19.332 for Reyes and a 19.377 for the 155 Mercedes of Scotland's Tim Reed, as now they head their way through past karting, now in towards Maison Blanche, and then into towards the iconic board chicane that will bring us on to the start-finish straight to complete lap number 19. George Reyes always going to he nearly straight-lined that chicane, and he's picked up a track limit penalty. This is now going to give the lead to Tim Reed with just over 11. Oh God, that was he was very lucky. That was not a worse track limit slowdown penalty there for Reyes. But look at Reed. He's now going to be dancing all over the back bumper of the number 37 Ferrari momentarily as they go up the hill through into the Dunlop chicane. Reed is now going to have to chance it. He's got to wait until he comes out of Tetra Rouge. That'll probably be how I would play it. Just if you can line it up and get the acceleration and the whole shot and the traction down on the rear axle. It's a little bit easier in these wet weather conditions to do that in the Ferrari, but once you get that Merc up to volume number 11 in the words of Spinal Tap, you will be absolutely like a rocket ship down the straightaways.
Yeah, I think the Mercedes is good, but he's just got to keep it close. Unfortunately, he lost a little bit of time in when Reyes made that mistake and then got the slowdown off, which was very, very quick, mind you. And he must have got it on very,
Sindre's binned it. Sindre's binned it off track, I'm afraid to say this. Sorry to cut across you there, James. But he was closing in. Let's see what happens to the man from Norway in the number 15. It's going to be...
I ain't going to see anything, I don't think, mate. Oh,
no, we are. There we go. He goes off. And that was at Mulsanne Corner.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. Martin Kenyon's also had a big old incident as well.
Oh, dear.
Back end's coming round. He's already lost that. There you go. Bang, straight into the wall for him. And now Haynes has got Klumpert for company.
And Quentin Klumpert's to the outside. Now this is the rundown into what will be Indianapolis and then Arnage. So Chris Haynes will have the inside line for Indianapolis. Let's just see how this pans out. Okay, they're going to be side by side. This is the battle for P4 in the AM classification. And let's just see into Indianapolis. That's going to be... No, this is not Indianapolis. My apologies. I think it is. Yeah.
No, it's the
Porsche. Porsche curves. Oh, graze on the wall by Chris Haynes on the right-hand side of that McLaren. He was so lucky that did not pinball him to the other side of the track. That was the slightest of scrapes, but whether he's picked up any rear suspension damage on that car, but Klumpert's lost it. Klumpert lost it on the next complex, and it's all on his own. And he's going to turn it in now, turns it in right. Back end's going to step out on its own accord, and it sends him backwards. And the Flying Dutchman hits the barriers and loses the rear wing in the process.
Yeah, pit stop for him. He's going to need to go into pits, I think. He needs to be aware that that's not there as well. He is not aware that he doesn't have a rear wing. So this is going to get very, very interesting. Is Reed and Reyes. are literally, well, they're that close, actually, to be honest with you, Alex.
8 minutes and 20 to go. Gap is 0.6 of a second between Reyes and Reed for the race victory here at round number 5 out of 8. Sindre Johansen has picked up a track limit track limit slowdown that he's just served. Now he finds himself 2.4 seconds behind probably a slightly ailing Chris Haynes, who smacked the barriers. But it was more of a glancing blow, unlike what happened to Quinton Klumpert, the Flying Dutchman, with his new Fandango livery. And Tim Reed got very close to the outside wall through the sweeping left at the Porsche curves. But he's still keeping Reyes very honest. Yeah. Now I think there's going to be one thing that's going to happen. Either Tim Reed makes the move on George Reyes, or the latter has an unforced error, because that Ferrari has been slightly unstable, a bit more than that Mercedes has at times.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's still not really soaking. Car number 33 was speeding in pit lane, so I'm not quite sure.
Oh, Paul West again. Paul West again. That's double bubble for Paul, I'm afraid.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we'll see how Reed gets on and whether or not he's going to be able to get close enough. Ossier and Pant are still having a battle. I would have thought Ossier should have cleared him by now, but clearly the wets are working a little bit better than the dries at this moment in time. Pant was a 4.24, Ossier was a 4.21, but it hasn't managed to clear him as of yet. Car 8's just been given a warning for being a naughty boy there as well, and that was Quinton Klumpert, and I wonder if that may have had something to do with the second part of this. Remember, he still hasn't got a rear wing. I don't think he realises he hasn't got a rear wing, and unfortunately around he's going to go because he's missed the pit road again.
Hold your brakes.
Jesus. There we go. That's
hold your brakes, Quentin. Come on, you know that's the basic etiquette. If you come to a stop, when you hear the words "car on your right," hold your brakes.
I don't know if he heard the words though, Alex, or whether or not he knew he was coming. It's either that, or he just might have got so frustrated with himself that he just decided, right, I'm going to go and drive, and that's what he did. As Martin Kenyon and Mr. Haynes are having their own little ding-dong.
Now this is going to be very, very close as they're going to go through into Indianapolis. No.
Oh, he's going
to... He's going to be very, very lucky if he gets that round the... Oh. Right. So, that now means that Martin... Oh, that tail was wagging the dog on the back of that raging bull, I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. Martin Kenyon did not get a good run coming out of Arnage at that particular point. Chris Haynes, however, is being chased down by by our resident Viking, our Norwegian friend, Mr. Sindre Johansen, who's still blinking. And the gap between them in the battle for 4th place is 8 and a bit tenths of a second. They're now going through the Porsche curves once again. They've got to be very, very careful. And Chris Haynes this time does not glance the wall on the outside of the double left. But still, Martin Kenyon now closing in. Oh, Joel Loudon. Now, Joel Loudon was a second and a half ahead of him, so Joel Loudon's made a bit of a faux pas, and that is going to allow Kenyon maybe to have the opportunity to get through on him. Goes later on the brakes into the final chicane complex here at Le Mans, and now that puts Loudon, Haynes, and Johansen within striking distance of each other. Let's see who gets the better traction out of Haynes and Johansen. It's the Mustang again. And now the McLaren starts to build speed. Sindre Johansen has got a chance with what will be this one more lap. Sindre Johansen, oh, that was a bit too effervescent there, I think, from our Norwegian friend. But is he going to stop it in time? He is going to stop it in time and not go into the side of Chris Haynes, who runs wide coming out of the Dunlop chicane. Now underneath the bridge they will go, and Johansen gets the job done through the sweeping right. Anyone might remember where safety car driver and ex-Formula 1 racer Yannick Dalmas, who won with BMW in the late 90s and 1999 in the prototype category, was sideways in the Audi R8 safety car in the wet one particular year. But Sindre Johansson now has a chance to chase down Joel Loudon, because the next time around it will be the white flag lap as George Reyes and Tim Reed are now 2.8 seconds apart. Scotty Kostrick and James Moore. This is the AM class lead, and it's for 8th overall. Moore in the slipstream of Kostrick, and now goes to the right-hand side. This is going to be down into Mulsanne corner. Kostrick still keeps the throttle pinned, hard on the brakes, turns it round to the right, stays ahead, but Moore is like a little Yorkie Terrier nipping at your heels.
Unfortunately for Sindre, he's just lost the position.
Oh.
Too fast. Loudon's round in front. No, that's Kenyon's round in front.
Oh, Kenyon.
How much did you see of Kenyon's incident? Snap, 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 wiggle.
Round she goes.
Loudon's going to come around the corner. Just misses him. Sindre's on the gravel. Haynes is trying to go around the back end and manages to make it through. And it all got a little bit calamitous at this moment in time. Unfortunately, though, Sean Clark and Quinton Clumber have both had dramas. Just want to quickly show them before we pick back up on the AM battle. And by the looks of it, Sean is going to get it on the right-hander.
Right, okay, let's see. Turns it in.
Goes in, don't get stopped. But I think Quinton may not realise he still ain't got a rear wing.
Well, I mean, obviously on that replay that we saw with Sindre Johansson, he was channeling his inner Andreas Backerud on that one and used the Joker lap to keep out of trouble. Beware the Dutchman, it says on the rear.
So, do you notice on the thing, he's used the window wiper as a flagpole, and he's put his flag.
Oh my!
Hold on, he's put his flag in the middle of the windscreen, connected to the window wiper. Look at that.
Yeah, that's actually really good. That's cool. Really awesome.
It's cool attention to detail there as well. These two carrying on, fighting for the AM. Reyes is right the way around the other side of the racetrack, so we've got half the racetrack to go for him. But these guys have still got quite a little bit. Well, they've got a whole lap to do.
Yeah. So the two battles that really showing their showing how close it's going to be is going to be the battle in the AMS classification. So James Moore, Upshift Esports versus Scotty Kostrick, who could be on. Well, the thing is, Scotty Kostrick was second in the championship coming into this round, and he was 34 points behind Harry Seven, which means Scotty Kostrick, even if, I'm just trying to remember what it is, it's 34 for second, 40 for a win. If Scotty Kostrick holds off James Moore, he becomes the new championship leader in the running order of things. And more to the point, Sindre Johansson, if he finishes third, that's going to rocket him up the table. Meantime, at this point, Harry Hartley-Price, actually I'm looking at it right now, Hartley-Price currently P3, which is, if I remember correctly, 30 points. Harry Hartley-Price on 97 will go to 127 and hit the top of the standings. Tim Reed will then go on to 109 points, and that will put him in the top 5 quite easily. So now, all right, Joel Loudon, Chris Haynes and Martin Kenyon are all in pit lane. Who would have thought of that?
I think Kenyon's also got a drive-through.
Oh, no, it's all gone. And Sindre Johansson has now got the biggest get-out-of-jail free card if you wanted to play Monopoly. And now James Moore is going to go for the race lead here on what we have hit 0 on the time. And George Reyes will cross the line very shortly to become our winner for round number 5. But James Moore to the outside, through at the second chicane. Is he going to keep it planted there? And it's going to be a little bit of paint swapping. But Scotty Kostrick has got to get the traction out of this second chicane. James Moore edges ahead by next to nothing, and he's through. James Moore gets through and now takes the lead. Meantime, the checkered flag will be out. It's his second appearance in the Tanso Racing Group Clark St. James GT3 Championship here in Season 8. And George Reyes holds off the advances of what could have been a victory for Tim Reed and takes the checkered flag. Meantime, Scotty Kostrick and James Moore come through Mulsanne Corner for the final time here on lap number 22. Harry Hartley-Price will cross the line and become the new championship leader in the pro standings, with Peter Duke not being here tonight. But Scotty Kostrick is in the slipstream, down on the run down towards Indianapolis. He's got to try and do something brave, bold and beautiful here at this part of the circuit, and he's got to give it his all. He's going to look to the outside, pulls out of the slipstream from James Moore, who cuts across the front, keeps the throttle pinned into the Indianapolis. Can the Aston Martin be stopped in time? The answer is a definitive yes. But then there's only the last few complex of corners to go. Tim Cullimore gets himself a slowdown penalty. Sam Berry picks up fourth. Glenn Ablard in fifth. As we ride on board with Scotty Kostrick behind James Moore. Kostrick was on course for victory. He will go level on points with Harry Seven heading into round 6 at Mexico City next week. But what a battle it's been between these two. Last few corners, James Parfitt. It could be a close one as Kostrick on the brakes going into, well, didn't really brake there. He lifted off the throttle and then tried to keep with James Moore. But Moore in that Aston Martin is going to bring the car's very first victory here in season number 8 for the Aston Martin brand.
It's a great job there as well. If he can hold it for a couple of more corners. Through the left-hander we go. Then we've got the little rundown into that final left-right here as well. And at the moment, James Moore, after an epic battle from Upshift Esports, is looking like he should take this victory. He's just got to bury his corners. He doesn't want to get a slowdown because he won't get it off in time. And then he could end up copping a penalty. He goes very, very slow. It's going to be a run to the line. And at the moment, Moore takes it. Flash of the lights for the Aston Martin. Kostrick in behind him as well. Great racing from them too, but it was Moore. But you see how tentative he was on that final chicane because he did not want that slowdown.
Right. Very good question from the Wiki Wanderer. Is Sam Berry going to be close to Harry Hartley-Price? Well, I can tell you this. 4th place is 27 points, which means, if it stands, because obviously there can sometimes be some discussions post races, Sam Berry and Harry Hartley-Price are now level at the top of the pro standings on 127 points apiece going into round 6.
Piece as well. I do love the emphasis on that there, Alex. It was very well done.
There we go. Sindri Johansson. Well, he's got a slowdown penalty. He's just served it. But finally, the Norwegian gets an opportunity to be on the podium. And Sindri Johansson, well, he has been on, I think he's been on the podium before. I think where did he finish? He finished P3 at the Red Bull Ring. He's done it again for 2 races in a row. So great job there by Sindri Johansson. But it was all because of what happened in front of him. We saw James Loudon go in the pit lane, Chris Haynes go in the pit lane. And, well, it could have been a very, very different story for some of those drivers there. So the Wookiee Wanderer going, no way, ha, 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 ha. He likes using his caps locks like somebody else I know.
Hey. You know what?
But yours are accidental. Yours are accidental.
Yeah, it generally means I've been doing something else on my computer and then I forget and then it just, unfortunately, I just carry on typing and then it all just goes wrong and then before I know it, I'm shouting at everyone. So there we go. Let's bring you up the race results. Alex, before we do the interviews.
Yes, indeed. 2 for 2 so far from pole position. Well, pole position to checkered flag this time for W2W Racing Blues, George Reyes. Tim Reed, he was so close at one point, was 2/10 away from maybe getting a win. But he takes P2 ahead of teammate Harry Hartley-Price, who along with 4th place Sam Berry, they become your joint pro championship leaders heading into round 6 next week. Glenn Ablard, Hayden Young, Tim Cullimore, James Moore, Scotty Kostrick and Sindre Johansson round out your top 10, with the latter three rounding out your AM podium. Simon Nelthorpe, Joel Loudon, Quinton Clumpert, Chris Haynes, Martin Kenyon, Alex Pantier, Mark Ozier. Could be so different for the 170. Harrods, McLaren, and Mark Wesley rounding out your top 18 drivers after that race. Sean Clark and Raymond Van Zupfen rounding out the top 20. Paul West ending up 3 laps down at the end of, or 4 laps down at the end, and Andy White's obviously having dramas, would end up retiring on lap number 5. Well, let's have a chat with first of all, our runner-up in the pro class category. He was so close. Tim Reed from Clark St. James. Tim, it seemed like the Merc was the mighty car in the Clark St. James Motorsport Brigade this evening, and you were so close to maybe getting that win here tonight. What happened?
Yeah, just couldn't keep the tyres. They were getting too hot. I think the track was drying out, so I just couldn't keep up with him because George is rapid, let's just say.
That he was, but it was really good when we saw, I think, what was it at one point? It was a 6.2 second advantage. And then we saw you catch, I was like seeing you take absolute chunks out of him on certain sectors. I think it was like sector 4. One point you took nearly 2 seconds out of him. But it was nice to see that you were trying to put the frighteners on him a little bit there as well.
Yeah, feel really comfortable in the wet. Like, I wish there was more wet races. I think I'd probably get more silverware in that, but there's not, so I don't. I got P2 here last season as well because of the rain. I'll maybe win it one day.
Who knows? Maybe Lamar will call your name at one point, my friend. But still, that's a good haul of points. 34 points towards your championship. Got 3 more rounds to go. We head to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the Mexico Grand Prix circuit layout. How do you think things are going to go there for you?
Not sure. It's not my favourite. We got VIR, right? Is that right? We got that at the end? I'll do well there, hopefully.
No, we've got Indy.
Indy. Shit. No idea.
Ignore that, everybody at home. Oh. Tim didn't mean to use a profanity,
no.
Did you, Tim?
No. We're not going to apologise on Tim's behalf, but we know he didn't mean to say that.
50p in a swear jar.
Don't worry, we'll put it towards the Tanso fund, right then. But Tim, still a good result nevertheless. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just the Clark St. James Motorsport team. Good set of lads. Enjoy racing with them.
Well done tonight, buddy, and we'll see you next week at Mexico for round 6. Back to the old 60-minute format.
Cheers, fellas. Thanks for broadcasting.
Thank you very much to Tim Reed from Clark St. James Motorsport, our runner-up. So let's bring in the man who finished 3rd in that race and showing a good, strong performance. Harry Hartley-Price, welcome back into the interview zone.
Hello, you're right.
Not bad. Still, I'm going to lay something on you here. Those 30 points have just put you as part of the duo leading the championship, because Sam Berry picks up 4th, which puts you both ahead of Peter Duke, and you're both on 127 points apiece after Le Mans. Would you have thought, if someone had said to you, yeah, you'll be leading with somebody else going to the final 3 rounds, you probably would have said you're having a giraffe?
There is a drop week, though, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah. So, but no, I wouldn't, to be fair. Fair play for Tim. I couldn't keep up with him. I could barely keep on the bloody track, to be fair. Them curbs were lethal, but best drive I've seen him do, actually. So, yeah, fair play. I'm glad he... I think he nearly got the win, didn't he?
He was, at one point, he was 2/10 off of George's back. That's how close it was, and it ended up being, I think, like about over 8 seconds was the winning margin, because Tim just couldn't get with it. The tyres just went off a cliff for Tim, and they started overheating. So,
yeah, no. It's always good round Le Mans. We're going to be doing the 24 next month. Is it the Conspit? You know, the iRacing one. So that'll be good to do as the team. So yeah, but yeah, happy with that result. Thanks for doing the broadcast again.
Well, at least it's been, the thing is, last season we saw you as the runner-up. We saw you as the season 6 champion. Obviously, with developments that happened there, but still, the Aston Martin's still quite a new vehicle to get the grips with, isn't it? Because it's only been out for a few weeks. You guys at Clark St James, you know, most of you like yourself, Andy and Sean, you've switched to it. There's still more potential I see coming from this vehicle, isn't there?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think it had a recent bop, made it quite a bit more torque apparently. But obviously before that, me and Andy was in the Merc, and I love that car. I think it's brilliant. But obviously the Aston come out, got to give that a go. So, but yeah, I agree. There's a lot more potential, I think, with the development.
Well, nevertheless, still, you got yourself on the podium and got yourself a piece of that championship lead going into round 6. How do you think things will go for you at Mexico with this car?
I haven't even downloaded the track yet, so I need to get a bit of practice in. But just before, actually, I go, fair play to Sam Berry. Another lap he would have got me. So, and he reeled me right in. So, congrats to him.
No worries. Well, Harry, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Tim, what drive? Fair play. Really happy for him. Deserves it.
Brilliant. Harry, we'll see you next week at Mexico City for round 6.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, guys.
So now that we've big thank you there firstly to Harry Hartley-Price, our third place finisher in the 98 Aston Martin for Clark St James. But finally, he's back to victory lane from Upshift Esports. It's the defending AM champion. We welcome James Moore back into the booth. James, good evening.
Good evening, mate. How you doing?
Not too bad. That was a spicy last couple of laps battle between you and Scotty there, wasn't it?
Tell me about it. I am still shaking from it. You know, I thought, oh, he's 2 or 3 seconds ahead. I'll just sit behind him and wait for a mistake. And the mistakes, you know, they didn't happen, but I could see that his pace was falling off. So I was like, right, time to attack and time to make my move.
And that you did. It must be a pretty good feeling now that you've picked up a well-deserved victory after an hour and a half. I think it just goes to show how much that both you, Sergio, and of course James not well to race tonight. You all decided to take the plunge going from the Corvette to the Aston Martin. It seems like for you guys it was the right decision.
Yeah, we've all been fans of the Aston Martin projects in real life for ages anyway. And when it got announced by iRacing, we thought, right, this is it. You know, we'll make the move from the Corvette. And the car has absolutely lived up to the hype. If anybody listening, watching is in any doubt of the car, get the car. You will not be disappointed.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, we've still got 3 more rounds to go. Of course, Autodromo Jimenez Rodriguez, the Mexico Grand Prix layout, is going to be used next time out. It's going to be an interesting one with the Aston Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, the Aston Martin can get a bit squirrely on acceleration, but no, it'll be a good one to test it out.
Well, congratulations on a win here finally after 5 rounds, and you win at Le Mans of all places. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, James?
Everybody in my Twitch chat, they have been extra supportive this evening and kept me going. So this win is for them.
Brilliant. Upshift Esports, very. Oh, go on. Right, JP, you were going to say something?
I had 5 or 6. Don't worry. I'm not a huge streamer. I'm not, you know. But
no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just interested to see. That was all.
No, I've got 5 or 6 in chat right now.
Nice. Good job.
Well, James, congratulations on the win. We'll see you next time out for round 6 when we go to Mexico City.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you there to Upshift Esports, James Moore. And we've got one more interview to do. Sindre Johansson joins us. Well, you, good sir, did a very, very brave strategy. You stayed on those dry tyres in that Mustang until 22 and a half minutes to go. You seem to be rather happy at that point in those mixed conditions, weren't you?
Yeah, they worked out really good. Since I put it in the wall so early, I was a bit, I think I was a bit upset with the tires from everybody else, and I had when the rain started to come, I had the 3 or 4 laps on the fuel. So I was just thinking, this is still works. So I'm going to try to to hold it out, and it worked out great. So
it did work out actually, Sindre, because the funny thing was, well, when we saw you do your best Andreas Backerud impersonation through the chicane, when we saw that Mr. Kenyon had spun around, Joel had gone cat-like reflexes, and you just went full send Backerud style through the gravel. We were like thinking, oh my goodness me, what's going to happen here? But then as the race came towards the end, your strategy played into your hands, because we saw Kenyon got a black flag for incident points, and then we saw Joel, and I think it was Chris Haynes, who you're also getting very, very close with. They had ended up in the pit lane, so you must be happy now. That's a second podium in a row, one at the Red Bull Ring, and now one here at Le Mans.
Yeah, the last lap when I saw Joel was pitting, I was really really happy about it, because I was really dreadful I was not looking forward to fighting with him on the last lap and doing the Sindre stuff.
Well, congratulations on taking another P3, Sindre. Of course, the Mustang looks very, very comfortable. I mean, obviously, we saw that your fellow Mustang driver, the Flying Dutchman, Mr. Quentin Klumpert, didn't have such a great race. But who would you like to give a shout out to for tonight's efforts and tonight's success?
First of all, to my girlfriend, who's keeping an eye on the dog while I'm doing this every Monday night, and to Sean and every one of you guys making this such a nice Monday evening.
Brilliant. Well, Sindre Johansson, keep on plugging away, and I'm sure we'll see you a little bit higher up the podium this season. So well done tonight, and we'll see you next week for round 6 at Mexico.
Thanks. Good night.
Well, Mr. James Parfitt, good to hear from some of our drivers there as the rain continues to fall here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. It's that battle. I think that we had 2 battles in the AMs that really came to the fore right at the dying moments. James Woods with a move over Scotty Kostrick. And now that means that Harry Seven and Scotty Kostrick are both joint leaders. I've never seen that in TRG Clarkson James racing history in the GT3 side of things, where after 5 rounds, we have 2 drivers at the top of both standings tied on points.
Yeah, we have Harry Hartley-Price 127, Sam Berry 127, Scotty Kostrick 144, Harry Seven 144. So both championships at this moment in time are tied. And it's going to be interesting next week.
Especially when we go to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the Mexico Grand Prix city layout for our penultimate 60-minute race of the Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Championship Season number 8. A big thank you to everyone that's been involved on the JP Broadcasting Network YouTube chat. Thank you so much for joining us. For those wondering what you can watch, well, the big thing is you can go and watch some Radicals action once you've stopped watching along with us. But also on our schedule a little bit later on this week, we've got Radical Race Series Season 4 at Round 3 at Imola, League Zero Super Formula at Red Bull Ring, Virtual Circuit TCR at Croft, Virtual World Sports Car Championship 85 returns, 250 kilometers of Spa, JRC and the Novice Racer, Sim Racing for Simpletons, IGP Fun, Super Formula Lights, and so much more. You've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and James Parfitt through today's events here at Le Mans. This has been a JP Broadcasting Network production, and as always, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time, same place, same time next week. Good night for now.